I had no interest in watching this movie. The trailer made the sloppy monster mash of a Netflix film look more goofy than the Scooby-Doo movies, but the only reason why I decided to watch this is because of Emma Myers, because I think she's very pretty, and I low-key have a crush on her, and her performance did not disappoint. But surprisingly, this movie didn't disappoint too much either. But if you don't know, Family Switch is another generic body swap family film where a group of goobers that do not get along with each other go on a little family trip to take a picture with a telescope and just wish to each other that they were experiencing each other's lives to understand their struggle. However, that wish comes true, they swap bodies, and now we get to see how these parents live life as kids and the other way around. Now, like I said before, this movie is nothing new. It is just that time of the year where Netflix starts turning on the milk machine and blasts out a bunch of Christmas movies that no one will remember, especially considering that they released this stuff in November. And also the movie tries to save itself from being compared to other body swap movies by actively mentioning that this is a totally original situation that has not happened to anyone else, and goes on to make a Freaky Friday, 13 going on 30, 17 again, and big movie reference. And this is all within the same scene. It is literally shoving down your gullet that this is something that you have seen before, but it doesn't necessarily save itself from being more generic than a cardboard box. I mean, you can take a movie concept like this and make it your own, but the film doesn't take any risks. You know when it's going to happen, and you know when it's going to happen. And essentially, it's just a paraphrased version of other family swap films. This movie doesn't reinvent the condom in any way, shape, or form. And even the characters are absolutely nothing new. Like, you got the mom who is kind of controlling and is the ringleader of the family, the dad who is goofy and never knows what's going on, and then at least one of the kids is a goober who cares about school, and the other donkey is a kid whose personality is anything but school. Then you chuck in a baby into this family. But look, these kinds of concepts in movies are going to be rehashed all the time. We don't live in a utopia where original ideas could come out of everybody's nostrils on the daily. So is this a movie at least watchable despite you knowing what's going to happen? And honestly, I do think this is still very watchable. And the reason why is because of the cast. Everyone on this esports team, from Jennifer Garner, Ed Helms, Emma Myers, and Brady Noon, they all look like they had top-tier chemistry with each other, and they all put up surprisingly good performances. And I say that because in the trailer and clips Netflix released, it seemed like none of the actors were able to play each other. For example, watching Jennifer Garner act like a kid was more ridiculous than sleeping with bracelets on, and Emma Myers acting like an adult is not far from a teenager just acting a little moody. But when you watch the actual movie, that doesn't seem like the case too much, and I thought the cast did a really seamless job at playing their family counterparts. And also, I would go as far to say that nobody really had a standout performance. Everyone put up performances that are basically #1 seeds. But if I had to choose one, I would say that Emma Myers was the best performer in this film because she had the heaviest role and she pulled it off all naturally. But still, everyone gets their screen time and everybody is fleshed out properly. But outside of the lovable cast, everything else is just a doomsday. The movie is pretty stinky, and it doesn't make sense whenever the cast isn't trying to carry it. For example, throughout the movie, the baby and the dog in the family have switched bodies, which prompted Netflix to make a CGI baby, which is so creepy and heinous and doesn't even belong in a horror movie. It belongs in the back rooms. Also, this movie's presenting itself as a Christmas movie, even though I saw like, what, 10 minutes of snow in the film? So overall, I just don't understand why the Christmas theme is here. You can watch this on St. Patrick's Day or even World Nutella Day, and the vibe of the film won't change. The jokes in here were also not funny at all. I mean, if you're someone who has never heard of a joke in your life and has the humor of a water bottle, then yes, you were going to bawl your eyes out. But this movie was just not it in terms of jokes. Like, there was this one part of the movie where Emma Myers and Brady Noon's characters were at a party, but their parents were obviously the ones taking control of the bodies. And essentially, that party scene was just one ironic incest joke, because you see the siblings saying to each other that they love each other and miss getting to have fun with each other when they were young. But the reality is that the parents are the ones who are talking to each other, but it's incest because they are siblings, and none of that is funny. On top of that, the story tries really hard to have stakes and have shocking belly-busting twists that make it seem like the movie is not going to end happily, but whatever problem they come across literally gets resolved 5 minutes later. And obviously that's okay, and you expect that, but when these problems and immediate solutions are happening more often than remastered versions of GTA, then it gets kind of annoying. But look, when I watched this movie, I didn't want to puke out a bunch of cringe. I didn't want to punch my laptop. This movie had a job to do, and that job is to make me watch the whole movie, and it delivered on that job. However, I also watched this movie alone, and the reason why I say that is because I feel like this movie would be miles better if you watched it with your family, because that is essentially the target audience. This movie wasn't made for film buffs or theater lovers. This was made for families to sit around, have dinner together, and enjoy each other's company. And honestly, by the time the movie ends, you will likely have made a good memory with your group of grizzly bears. But overall, this movie doesn't change the galaxy and destroy the world by blowing everybody's minds, but it gets the job done, and you should definitely watch this with your family, even though it's kind of generic. 3 stars.